Barb, Meeple PhD, and I thought it might be fun to look back at 2025 and pick my favorite new to me games over the last year. I do play a lot of new games, but not necessarily 2025 games. So I thought I might expand this to just any new to me game for the year. And so without further ado, let's look at my favorite 10. My number 10 is My City. This is a legacy game where each player has their own board and they're playing out different polyomino pieces each game. But it's a legacy game, so it's going to change throughout as you're playing it. And you play through these different chapters. You get an envelope, and it's a one chapter, but it is three different games in that chapter. Typically, the chapter is going to do some kind of new mechanism or something, adding something new to your city. And then you're going to play through three games that use that mechanism or kind of reinforce that mechanism for you until you then open your next envelope and add even more new things to the game. We have now played through, I think, five envelopes. So that's about 20 games of this. I'm not done with the campaign, but we're close enough that I'm confident that this is a fave. This was a lot of fun. I don't know how replayable it will be at the end, but we've gotten plenty of plays out of it already, and that is My City, my number 10. My number 9 is another polyomino game that is just a coincidence, and that is Garden Lake. This is one where each player is building up a little lake in front of themselves with these really bizarre tiles. They are not your traditional polyomino shapes. They are kind of crazy shapes all over the place. And what's cool is that each player draws, I think it's 16 out of the bag and puts like a ring of them around their board. And on your turn, the two of them at the ends of your line of pieces are available to you, but so are the two on each side of you on your neighbors. And so it's not just what you have in front of you that you're stuck with, but you can also kind of be eyeing what your neighbors are doing and maybe plan ahead a little bit for what you think might be available on your turn. What you're doing is throughout the game, you are also trying to match up koi or lily pads, and you want groups of 7 of those. But with these, really bizarre shapes, it can be hard to get them all together in the right way. And there are ways to change up the game. So there's a base game where you're just filling as much as you can, and as you fill certain areas, you get bonuses like little one tiles or two tiles that kind of help you fill in different places that these crazy tiles are not helping with at all. But then you can also do a variant where instead you flip over your board and there are some shapes that you want to place around, and then you can fill in with, I think it's a dock or a park or something like that. And then you get additional points for things that are touching that. But first you had to plan ahead enough to leave space around it, and it really adds more to that spatial puzzle. And I love how you can ramp this game up or down based on who you're playing with. So that is Garden Lake, my number 9. My number 8 is Forest Shuffle. This is a card game, but each of the cards has multi-purposes. Well, most of the cards have multi-purposes. You do have trees that are kind of single purpose, but then you have other cards that have animals on them, and the cards are either split horizontally or vertically. And when you place them, you need to tuck them behind a tree so that you are showing only one side or the other of the card. So maybe I want to play a hare because if I get a bunch of hares over here, that'll be more points. But then I'm not playing the fox that's on the other side that can give me points for having the hares. And so, each play is kind of agonizing as you're deciding, which side of the card you want to do. But I love the art. I love those decisions. I love how beautiful this looks, although it is a table hog when we have played it. But I really like Forest Shuffle. That is my number 8. My number 7 is Horrified Greek Monsters. Now, the Horrified series are co op games that play Kind of similarly to your traditional co-op game where you take your player turn, you have X number of actions that you can do, then bad things happen, and then it's the next player's turn. But what I really like here are how the monsters kind of change up the game. And the different versions of it have slightly different boards, but where it really sings are those different monsters and the mechanisms you have to pay attention to. So with the Greek monsters, you get the Greek theme and get monsters like the Hydra and the Minotaur, where you have to reconstruct their labyrinth in order to then defeat them. And so we've enjoyed kind of exploring the new different monsters in this one, and I look forward to playing it even more and maybe on harder levels. Although we've been struggling a little bit even at the easiest level. So that is my number 7, horrified Greek monsters. My number 6 is Crafting the Cosmos. This is a very cool looking game where you are building up stars on your own private universe in front of you. Galaxy is probably more like it. You have the central board where you have little marbles that move around and define what actions you get to take on your turn. And then once you've rearranged the marbles how you want, um, you can make up to 4 movements, and you have to move your own color marble. And then you have all of these things that you can do. Maybe you're collecting new stars and figuring out where to put them on your board. Maybe you're moving things around, so you can move your stars around, you can move life around. Maybe you're completing a nebula, so you'll flip it over, and then later in the round, you want to get a new nebula, so you have something else to work for later. What I like about this is just how many different things come together in this game. It is also very photogenic, very cool to look at when you have all these 3D star pieces around your board. A little bit fiddly, which I have kind of ignored, but I could see where others might find that annoying. But that is Crafting the Cosmos, my number 6. My number 5 is Endeavor Deep Sea. This is a game that can be played either competitively or as a co-op, and I've played it both ways. And in the game, you have a crew that is starting to explore the ocean. At the beginning of the game, you can only work at the surface of the ocean, but you are sonaring deeper and deeper to see what's down there. And then later in the game, you will have the technology in order to dive deeper, bring your ships down there. And throughout the game, what you are doing is collecting resources, doing conservation actions on different tiles, exploring different things, like doing sonar so you can get more tiles out on the board. But what I really like about this game, it's fairly snappy. It's only 6 rounds when it's competitive, and it goes by really fast. The first round, you feel like you've done nothing, and you wonder how in the world you're going to get anything done in the game. And then by the end of the game, you've moved a bunch of your tracks, your technology, and various things up, maybe even to the maximum. You've explored so much of the board and done so many things that I love that satisfying feeling at the end that felt so desperate at the beginning of the game. The theme also really helps. I mean, I suppose this could be almost anything, but I love the art in the game and the idea of exploring the deep sea. And so that is my number 5, Endeavor Deep Sea. My number 4 is Vantage. This is a story-driven game where players each play a member of a crew on a starship that has approached this planet but then crash landed on it. And during that crash landing, our escape pods have been scattered to all corners of the planet. Then you are in contact with your crew members through audio, headsets, I'm assuming, or something like that, but they can't see what you're looking at. So you have a card that you're looking at and you're kind of describing to others what it is. And then each card has various actions that you can do on it. And then you have to move to another card. And collectively, you have a goal that's defined by the scenario that you're playing that you set up at the very beginning of the game. But you might have other goals that come up throughout the game, or destinies, or other things that can also win you the game. I'm not sure we've actually won this yet. We maybe came close once and then had a terrible roll. But I really enjoy the storytelling in this. I love the fantasy of it, that I'm bumbling around this planet, coming across these different sentient life forms, having these adventures. And if you don't like story-driven games, this is definitely not going to be for you. There are some mechanisms there where you're doing tests whenever you're doing one of those actions, but you always succeed. So I mean, there's danger there because you will end up using time and other resources that will end the game faster. But you know, if you don't like those story-driven games, that's not for you. I love story-driven games, so this one really sings to me, and that is Vantage, my number 4. My number 3 is Galileo Galilei. This is a game that feels like it was made for me. I mean, with the theme, I had to try it out. And behind it, there is this Euro game with some really cool mechanisms. And the fact that the mechanisms and the theme all come together for me is what kind of brings this to the top of my list. In the game, you are playing a early astronomer who is making observations and doing things, but then getting the attention of the Inquisition. Now, if you play well with them, you can actually get them on your side, which can get you a lot of points. But if you're not careful, they will drag you down with them. And so throughout the game, you're doing a lot of various things where, moving up on different tracks and collecting cards and moving things in your library. And I love games with a lot of different things going on where you can focus on one and win the game, or you can focus on a few of them and still win the game. And there are a lot of different strategies that you can do. There are also asymmetric astronomer powers, and of course, I love trying out all of the different ones of those. That is something that attracts me to a game. And then they have the expansion that we got this year that includes a couple of female astronomers, which is really nice to see that they've made that effort to include more in the game. So Galilei theme, Eurogame, it's just for me. That is my number 3. My number 2 is Tea Witches. Anyone who watches this channel will be not surprised to know that I was attracted to this by the art. It's by the same artist and designer as Flamecraft, and it has that same amazing cartoony quality that I love in Flamecraft. But now you are witches who are serving up tea in this festival and trying to do the best job of it. Throughout the game, you are moving your little teapots as a worker placement in the center of the board, collecting different teas, but at the same time, you need to manage how you're storing things in your storage because you only have so much room for those teas. So you want to be serving them as quickly as you can, unless you have ways to get bonuses for storing more teas, that sort of thing. And so there's kind of a lot going on in this game. The first time I played it, I messed up a major rule, but fortunately, everyone at the table was messed up in the same way. We figured it out by the last round, and everyone had a great time, even despite that. I ended up making it harder for ourselves. And so future games have been uh, much better than that one, but I enjoyed it the first time so much that I had to buy it. And so that is my number 2, Tea Witches. And my number 1 favorite new to me game for 2025 is SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Again, like Galileo, this is a game that has my name written all over it. It is about astronomy. It is a Euro game, and it is a lot. Throughout the game, players are playing different scientific research facilities who are sending out probes to look for life, signs of life, biosignatures. They're scanning the skies to look for biosignatures. And then at some point in the game, you are actually going to discover some of that extraterrestrial intelligence. You never know which two are going to come up in the game that you're playing, and so each game plays a little bit differently. I love how all of this comes together. I love the multi-use cards in the game. They can be played for a little bonus at the top. They can be played as income, possibly if you have the right actions for that, or they can be played for their main action. Some of them give you goals to work for throughout the game. Others just give you a one-time benefit, but that benefit is always better than that standalone action. And so you're really trying to do everything you can to play as many of those cards as you can. I really enjoy this. The components are off the chart, especially for a non-deluxeified version of the game, and I am looking forward to getting the expansion into my hands early next year. This year, it's 2026 already. So anyway, that is my favorite new to me game. I would love to hear what games you've gotten to the table. Do you have a favorite new one for you for last year? Doesn't matter if it was published in 2025. Or maybe you prefer to play a lot of old favorites instead. Share with me what your favorite play of the year was, no matter whether it was new to you or something that's just dear to your heart. Otherwise, I hope you have a great year gaming. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you know when new videos come out. You can also follow me in between on Instagram and Blue Sky as MaplePhD, and I have a blog at maplephd.com. We'll see you next time. SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Let me try that again.